And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. It is October 2nd, 2018. First show of the new month. Excited to be here. Hope everybody's day is going a little better than mine. I woke up in a bad mood. Seemed like everything didn't work right after that. So let's see if we can get a good show off right now. Some of you may have noticed that over the past few weeks, instead of having music or a track at the beginning of the show, I've just had to clap, that clap track. Here's why. Got a new desk coming in today. My office got turned into a shared use space for guest rooms last office now, so I had to get a new desk. Been waiting for it to arrive. It showed up today. I'm going to get my equipment reset back up, and we're going to be good to go with all the lovely noises and sounds and music that we're used to on Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. Now today, I'm going to take that grumpiness I have from today, and I'm just going to continue it right through my show. I got some stuff to get off my chest today. I'm going to be, letting it out, letting some frustration go today, okay? I got some frustration with these Major League Baseball celebrations. I got some frustration with the game of football in the NFL, the refereeing, the coaching, the fans, the sports radio personalities. We're going to let them all have it today. So we're talking baseball, obviously. We got the wild cards. We got these celebrations happening. We got fans throwing home run balls back in the field and hitting players. And then we got week 4. All the same nonsense happened this week. All kinds of upsets, all kinds of stupid bad calls by the referees, changing the outcomes of games. But we're going to start off with baseball because we do have another wild card game tonight. We do have the Rockies taking on the Cubs in Chicago tonight. We do have two teams that lost yesterday, that dropped an egg, embarrassed themselves in their play-in game for their one-game playoff. So what do? Tonight, okay, we go face each other in Chicago. Chicago, you've got the better record on the regular season. You get to host the wild card game, which, face it, the wild card game in baseball, that's just another play-in game to where you get to a series. It was a way for the owners to make more money and to make the fans think they're getting more good baseball. I don't like it. You want to make a wild card round? Fine. Make it best out of 5 instead of best out of 7. You have a wild card round. Let these teams play. Let the Rockies come back to Colorado and have 2 games against the Dodgers, or however that breakdown is, in those 5 games. Let Chicago back to Chicago to have a couple games there instead of just playing in Milwaukee. It's baseball. You don't do it the same way as other sports. So why did you change to this format with this single game wild card that's really just a play-in game? It's the same as the NCAA with their 65th and 66th teams, and they're saying, oh, those aren't play-in games. Yes, the hell they are. That's all they are, and there's no way around it. So tonight, we have our Major League Baseball. And, I might be pissing off all of the purists out there who love baseball. Look, I grew up playing baseball. My dad was a baseball coach. I love the game. But here's the thing. It irks me. They make decisions. The business decisions are what gets under your skin. For me, anyway. Because that's all this wild card game is a business decision. Otherwise, you'd make it best of 5. You'd make it like the rest of your series. You don't have one and done in baseball. You play 162 freaking games. And all of a sudden, you're going to have one and done? Whatever. So on the American League, we got the Yankees taking on the Athletics tomorrow night. Tonight, we got the Cubs and the Rockies. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on that game. Yankees and Athletics, going to be a good game. Chris Davis led the home run for the American League this year with 48. He really had a second half surge. Yankees, 5 guys hit over 20 home runs for the Yankees, I believe, this year. 5 or 6 guys. So, they're going to be bringing the bats. They're looking to go and take on Boston in the next round. And we'll get to the schedule for the playoffs and stuff like that as well. And then tonight, the Cubs and the Rockies. Who is this game honestly going to be harder for to get up for this wild card game? Quotation marks. I won't call it a playing game anymore. Just know I'm doing quotation marks whenever I talk about the wild card game in baseball. So who's the game going to be harder for tonight? Is it going to be harder for the Chicago Cubs in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field? Or is it going to be harder for the Rockies, who blew it? Who, between bad calls by the coach and untimely bad hitting, and the fact that the Dodgers are their daddy, the Rockies definitely have the harder fight tonight. They're flying in from LA. Chicago's coming back from Milwaukee. Chicago got to go home, sleep in their bed, wake up, brush off the loss yesterday, go to their home park to defend their home field. The Rockies got on a plane, have these thoughts in their head, didn't sleep good at the hotel, wake up knowing, oh my goodness, tonight's our last shot. That's where they're at mentally. The Cubs are like, this is ours. This is our field. Yesterday's behind us. We're rejuvenated. Let's go. Now, they say baseball players, they have a short memory. That may be true. The Rockies need a very short memory right now. They're going to have to find bats tonight. They're going to have to give Freeland some run support. Because Lester's going to come out tonight as the most experienced left-handed pitcher in Major League Baseball. Been in the playoffs for like 10 straight years. And he's going to deal tonight because that's what he does. And the Rockies need to put it on him. They need to put it on him hard. They need to go into Atlanta or Milwaukee after this, actually. All right, we'll check the schedule on that. So that they have some momentum going. So that they can use that short memory that I hear about baseball players. Now, you look at the playoff outlook. ESPN has one out right now. You can go check it out. David Schoenfield and Bradford Doolittle put it out. And they give you a percentage odds of each team in the World Series. And then they break down their playoff favorite roster rating, playoff team ratings. So their favorite team going into the playoffs from 1 to 10 are Houston, Dodgers, Boston, Yankees, Cleveland, Chicago, Milwaukee, Oakland, Atlanta, and the Rockies. They got you at 10th. Because they know how inconsistent you are. Because they don't believe that lineup with all those bats is going to produce. Because they know you have John Gray and Tyler Anderson as two of your starting five. And they might come out and have their stuff one day, but another day they might just give up 8 runs in an inning. Because they're hot garbage like that. Stop calling John Gray an ace because of what he can do while pitchers and catchers are doing their thing. What he does in the preseason games down in Scottsdale. He has not earned that right. He has not shown he can be that guy. In fact, I don't see him on the team next year. I'd either option his butt down to a lower level or I'd get rid of him. Because every time there's a little bit of pressure, John Gray blows it for you. That psychologically is going to lead your team going into that game to know we don't have a chance tonight. And that's the last thing you need if you're the Colorado Rockies. Atlanta at 9, not a lot of respect for Atlanta. Not a lot of people saw Atlanta winning the NL East. Same with Oakland. Oakland's down on the list right now. Oakland can hang with just about anybody. They don't have the names. And like I said a few weeks ago, I don't expect Boston to win the World Series, even with all the wins that they had. But it's worth a read to go see what these guys, how they break it down, David Schoenfield and Bradford Doolittle. So that's over on ESPN.com. You can check that out. And then as far as the schedule for the playoffs goes, like I said, tonight you have the Cubs and the Rockies in Chicago for the NL wild card. You have the A's at the Yankees on Wednesday. That game will be on TBS. Tonight's game's on ESPN. And then you go into the divisional series. Winner of the Cubs and Rockies will face the Brewers. The Braves take on the Dodgers in their divisional series. Right now, it's setting up for the Dodgers, who have now won 5 straight NL West championships, to make it back to the World Series. They're playing better at the right time. They have Atlanta, this underdog team nobody expected to be there, in the divisional series. The Brewers, however, are very hot right now. I'd like to see the Dodgers and the Brewers and see how that came out. We'll have to see that in the championship round if that comes to be. Divisional series, that's going to kick off on Thursday for the National League. So whoever wins tonight will have 1 day rest, and then they will take off till Milwaukee to start the divisional series on Thursday. Both sides, the Brewers and the Dodgers and the Braves, and the winner from tonight will be playing. So both games is what I'm trying to get to. We'll kick off for the National League on Thursday. The American League will kick off on Friday. Both games on Friday, both on TBS. Both of the National League games are on FS1 or the Major League Baseball Network. So this is the time of year. I've told you guys this many times. And in fact, I have a buddy who told me the same thing recently. This is the time of year to start watching baseball if you're a casual fan. There's less games. There's more action. It's more intense. There's more moves. All kinds of things going on. You get to see the same team play the same club for a series. It's good time to watch baseball. It's a good time to go see baseball at the park if you can get a ticket. Championship Series will then kick off for the National League on October 12th, for the American League on October 13th, and the World Series is currently scheduled to start Tuesday, October 23rd. So, of course, we're going to keep you guys up to date on where everybody's at in the playoffs and how the games are being won and what the reactions are and everything like that. But 2 things I want to get to. Another Boston fan, home run ball, Stanton hit it, I think. And Boston fan gets the ball. He's not thinking. He's just like, I'm going to throw it as far as I can. He chucks it in. It bounces into the infield, hits Stanton while he's rounding second base. At that point, he's got to be pissing himself because he knows security saw it. He knows they're going to find him. Somebody's going to point him out, and he's getting roughed up and kicked out the game. Now, ultimately, he said security was cool about it. They understood he wasn't trying to throw at him. It doesn't sound like any charges have been filed or anything like that. Stanton kind of pointed and laughed as he went to third, didn't make a deal of it. It's not like he got hit hard or anything. But here we go. Another Boston Red Sox fan in the news for the wrong reason in consecutive weeks. Now, the last thing I want to get to before we get to NFL Week 4 reactions and scores are these damn baseball celebrations. They celebrate everything, and it screws with your psyche. And here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to break it down for you, okay? In baseball, you have this celebration because you made the playoffs. Champagne, woo, yeah, like you just won a championship. In any other sport. But in baseball, you've achieved just by getting there because you feel like your season's so long that you finally accomplished something. Okay? The Red Sox, they won their division a few weeks ago. Wrapped it up. Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. What did they do when they got into the playoffs? Cheered a beer, put it down, went about their business. Just like you would if you went out to dinner because somebody hit for the cycle. Cheer your beer, put it down, go about your business. What did the Rockies do when they made the playoffs? Full-blown freaking celebration. Locker rooms covered in plastic. We got the goggles on, champagne, partying. But guess what? They still had the division to win. So psychologically, they went from being focused, putting up 10 runs, 12 runs, 5 runs, to going, we're in. We're in. Yeah, we got a game tomorrow. Yeah, we want to win a division for the first time in 25 years. But that edge I had, that motivator, that's gone. I'm in. We partied. We put it up. And these teams, they do it after every round. Now, whoever wins the wild card tonight, they're going to party. They're going to put it up. Woohoo, we made the next round. That's like giving your kids stuff too early in life. So they don't know to appreciate it. They don't know to wait for it for the right age. Because you give it to the cell phone at 5. Well, then what do you give them at 10 if they already have the cell phone at 5? You can't give them a car yet. You're setting yourself up for disaster by doing things like that. By having these celebrations when you don't need to be having a celebration. And you're going to see how this will affect teams, certain teams more so than others, as you move through the playoffs. Because some teams, some players, we've now achieved. We did it. Yeah, we got this other thing going over. Yeah, it's coming up. But right now, we did it. Let's party. No, you don't party. You shake a hand, and you go directly into the next opponent. You don't lose that edge. You don't take a breath and think you've accomplished something. Save that for the end. Once you've done it. Once the championship is yours. That's when you celebrate. That's when you party. If you want to party and celebrate that National League championship, you want to party and celebrate that World Series championship, okay. But the National League championship, that's a quick one. That's not a big championship. That's like pat each other on the back. Let's listen to some music. We're going to have a cigar. Hang out with the fellas. Now you get that World Series ring. You get that Super Bowl ring. You get that NBA championship ring. That's the big party. That's when you go crazy. That's when you go all out. That's when you put the goggles on. That's when you see J.R. Smith ripping his shirt off and not having one on for the next 2 weeks. That's when you get the parade. You don't get a parade for the wild card. You don't get a parade for the National League title. You don't get a parade for being in the divisional series. So can we please stop these celebrations? Stop patting yourself on the back. Like, these baseball celebrations make me sick. They're like participation trophies for adults. That being said, let's move into football. NFL Week 4. Who picked every game this week? Huh? Anybody? Anybody. Go ahead, text in right now if you got all the games right this weekend. I highly, highly doubt you did. Thursday night was a good game. Not for the defense, not for either defense. But offensively, which everybody seems to love right now, and everybody wants to just put up a whole bunch of points like it's a video game. And if it's not like that, well, we got to tear the guy down who's running the team and passing the ball or running or catching or playing defense. He doesn't have 10 sacks tonight. He didn't match some other player's stats. So guess what? Must be something wrong with him. Nope. Vikings-Ram, it's a new age of football, different rules. It's set up to score points. It is set up for the offenses to be dominant. It is not traditional football anymore. I'm having trouble adjusting to that very much so this year. Rams, they go out and win it 38-31 over the Vikings. Not the start to the season the Vikings thought they were going to have when they brought Kirk Cousins in. Not the start to the season they thought they were going to have getting Delvin Cook back. Now, thoughts are with Everson Griffin. You know, he's dealing with the mental issue right now. That's some scary stuff. A lot of people just going, CTE, CTE. You don't know. Stop putting it out there like it's out there. Just wish the man the best. Then if it comes out and you want to debate whatever it is that the issue is that caused this to happen, then you can do something. But right now, everybody out there who's talking that, you're just talking doo-doo. Jaguars, without Leonard Fournette, they go off on the Jets 31-12. Patriots go all over the undefeated Dolphins, 38-7, making a statement in that an AFC East game. The Titans, if you picked the Titans over the Eagles this week, congratulations. You was lucky. You should have bet in Vegas. Titans squeak one out over the Eagles, 26-23. Texans squeak one out over the Colts, 37-34. Packers 22-0 over the Bills. I'm glad I went with the Packers as my pick and not the Bills. I told you guys last week I was having trouble thinking if the Bills came in and played on defense against the Packers the way they did against Minnesota, it could be close. They did not do that. They got nothing on the offensive side of the ball. And Aaron Rodgers, after the game, all he said was they played like crap on offense. They won 22-0. The Lions lose 24-26 to Jerry's boys. And you know what? I got to say, that really sucks. We should have won that game. We could not close. We could not tackle. We shut down their passing game. We played decent, not great. We did not play great. We didn't make ourselves a contender with the way we played by any means. We didn't run the ball as good as we did against the Patriots. Our offense is still not in sync. There's no rhythm to it. We're still trying to figure out how to do the running back rotation. And they go out and they let Ezekiel Elliott run all over, run roughshod. They let Jared Davis cover him one-on-one. Ezekiel Elliott just big smile on his face knowing he's running down the field. Jared Davis can't cover. Lions defense is in trouble. They're going to come down to scheme each and every week. They're going to come down to having to control the ball each and every week. On offense, they are going to have to play mistake-free each and every week in order for this team to have a chance all season long, because you do not have the players on defense. Ansah can't see the field most of his career. Like, I'm done with him. I thought he was going to develop into just a beast because of his athletic ability. But he spends so much time not playing football because he's injured that he hasn't developed. We made the Cowboys look average. I mean, did they look good outside of Ezekiel Elliott? Did anybody else for the Cowboys look good? Not really. Bears, Mitchell Trubisky goes off in a career game. What was up with the Buccaneers? Did they forget to play? There's no way they were overlooking the Bears. This is a team that everybody's talking about. Khalil Mack's the best thing since sliced bread now. Best defender ever. He's the MVP. And Tampa Bay, who's on a roll, putting up numbers, spreading the ball. We're giving people nicknames. Fit Magic coming out with the chest hair and the tracksuit. Swagalicious. 10 points and you get replaced by Jameis Winston, who's now going to be the starter? Boy, did you fall hard. I don't know what it is with Brian Fitzpatrick, but that boy rises as fast as a volcano shooting out of, whatever. And he falls faster than a falling star. Unbelievable. The Bengals surprised the Falcons. Matt Ryan. If I'm Matt Ryan right now, I'm sitting back going, what else can I do? I got a 100-plus passer rating. I got 330 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and I can't win the game. First quarterback in the history of the league to do that in back-to-back weeks and lose both times. First quarterback to help put up 36 points in back-to-back weeks and lose both times with those stats. I don't know what's going on with Julio Jones in that offense, but he is just not there. They're not using him. I don't understand it. They're not getting, good run right now with Tevin Coleman with Freeman being out. They need that 1-2 punch. Calvin Ridley's coming along real nice. Mohamed Sanu is still a solid number 2. But you'd figure with those 3 guys that I just mentioned, Jones, Ridley, and Sanu, that this passing attack would be unbelievable. But for whatever reason, they cannot find Julio Jones. And those other two guys are not doing enough, even though they're playing good, to open up Julio Jones on the outside. Falcons got to get it figured out, man. They're too talented of a team to be losing back-to-back weeks like that. Especially on the defensive side of the ball, they need to get that figured out quick. Because the offense, you putting up points, but you ain't getting nothing from that defense. Seahawks, they almost lay an egg against the Cardinals. They pull it out 20-17. John Gruden gets a victory as the head coach of the Raiders, 45-42, in what possibly was the worst refereed game of the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw the roughing the passer call that the rookie Key got on Baker Mayfield, but what's going on now? He hugged him. Like, he didn't fall down. He didn't tackle him. He didn't hit him in the head. He let go. His arms were out to the... I mean, it was like a medium chest bump, and the referee threw a flag. So I've heard a couple of people say, Richard Sherman kind of alluded to this, and a guy that I know that coaches football at Manual High School here in Denver, Colorado, Ben Butler, also mentioned something similar to this. If, you can't hit the quarterback, right? You can't hit him while he's passing. You can't hit him hard. You can't tackle him. You can't land on him. You can't hit him low. You can't hit him high. And apparently you can't chest bump him anymore. Then here's what happens. You either put flags on him, like they do in some little leagues, where you have to pull the flag off the guy, or as soon as he breaks containment out of the pocket, the play's whistled dead. He can't run either. Because if I'm not allowed to hit him because of the position he plays, because you've overvalued that position, and everybody is falling for it, then he doesn't get to run the ball. He gets to only pass. You eliminate some of that instantly, because now you're not worried about him running out of the pocket and getting hit and somebody landing on him and driving his shoulder into the ground and breaking a collarbone, which happens in football to all kinds of players. But now we've decided certain players are defenseless. We don't have all these special rules for punters and kickers. You can't run into them or rough them, but you can still hit them if they're running around on the field. I mean, come on. That hit, that chest bump, there was a couple other calls. The one on Marshawn Lynch, the fumble for the Raiders that was brought back. Like, there was just call after call after call in that game that was horrible. The Saints beat the Giants. Another poorly refereed game, almost as bad as the Browns and the Raiders. Saints take a 33-18 win there. Next week, Drew Brees looking to become the all-time passing yards leader, needing just over 200 yards to pass Peyton Manning there. The Chargers hold on to beat the 49ers with a ragtag group of guys going right now, and they're being competitive either way. So that shows you what's going on there with coaching. That shows how they're taking their players and putting them in positions to be successful. They're not saying this is the system, run this play. They're saying, man, you do this really well. Here's a play that's going to use that. But you know what? On these other plays, we're going to need you to do these things too. So we're going to put you in positions to be successful, but we're also going to ask you to do some other stuff on top of that. Not just line up, run our plays, here's how it's got to go. And if you don't work in that system, all of a sudden people are calling you a crappy player. So I like the coaching that I'm seeing in San Francisco right now. It gives promise to what they can do if they finally get some players and a full team going on in San Francisco. The Ravens, hey, they're balling right now. They don't really have all the talent. They're kind of like Philadelphia was last year, solid on defense for the most part. They're going to continue to get better as they get some players back and continue to gel. And doing just enough on the offensive side of the ball that it's like, what do we defend? Do we defend the pass? Do we defend the run? And they go out and they beat the Steelers 26-14. Impressive showing. Chiefs last night, I told you guys if you limit their big plays, you have a chance to beat them. And the only thing that stopped the Broncos from beating them last night was the Broncos. Were there some bad calls? Sure. Referees have admitted to the bad calls, admitted to missing, that the shot clock was at 0 before Kansas City converted the big play at the end. Keenum missed Demaryius Thomas at the end of the game with 30 seconds left, beating the cover 2, getting into the gap. That would have been a touchdown. Courtland Sutton, the defender came in tight, tried to break up the ball and tackle him, kept his arms pinned. Courtland Sutton was not able to grab and toss to Emmanuel Sanders, who, if he was, that would have been a touchdown. They had the blocking set up, and Emmanuel was running full speed. They got away from the running game for whatever reason again. I hear people in Denver talking today, Bill Musgrave, he called a good game. No, he didn't. There was no rhythm to his play calling either. Some series it was like, we're going to pound it, we're going to run it, we're going to get it going. Then he would try and pass, and they couldn't get a pocket or protect in any way or stop any pressure. Garrett Bowles is just tackling people and giving everybody a hug, ole. Maybe he can play guard, but face it, that's another bust of a draft pick for the John Elway regime. That guy cannot play tackle. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the footwork. He can't get a good punch on people. His sets are not in the right place for the play that's being called most of the time. And then as he gets frustrated, he gets angry and he starts doing stupid stuff. Now, their running game was dealing it. It wasn't getting them the points they needed, but it was dealing it. So you use that to set up your pass. Then you get some of those other weapons in there. You get some rhythm to it. There wasn't any rhythm. They didn't give Royce Freeman enough touches. They didn't give Phillip Lindsay enough touches. Actually, I kind of liked how many touches Phillip Lindsay had between running and passing the ball, because he needs to be kind of that secret weapon. He's not a secret, but he needs to be that guy that's used here and there, inside and outside, and in the passing game. Royce Freeman needs to be more of your every down back. Now, Booker had a pretty decent game as well, and their fullback, Janikowski, that boy is a beast. The one thing I will say about Denver is week to week, you see them progressing. You see them, after now playing football, since they don't do that till the regular season, you see this team is starting to come together. They're starting to figure out their philosophies. They're starting to make more plays. And they played their butts off against Kansas City last night on defense, and they just couldn't finish it out. They couldn't hold on. They gave everything they had. They wasted some opportunities that didn't work out. And the team, with the young quarterback, all the speed, bravado, that's just playing free. And you saw it last night. He finally got frustrated. He tried to force some stuff. He had to leave the pocket a lot more. 192 yards outside of the pocket passing. Most in the last decade. Impressive showing by both teams last night, for sure. For sure. We got reports coming out now that Le'Veon Bell might be back during the Week 7 bye for Pittsburgh. He does plan on playing for Pittsburgh this year. He still would like a long-term deal with Pittsburgh. I don't personally see that as being a good idea. I don't know why he would come back, other than he wants to get that time towards his free agency. First quarter stat leaders. Who's up, who's down right now in the NFL as far as leading the stats? Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers has the most passing yards. He leads Jared Goff by 8 yards at 14-14. Darius Leonard of the Colts leads the NFL in tackles with 54. Ezekiel Elliott, after that performance against Detroit, jumped way up on the rushing list. He's now got 426 yards to lead the NFL. DeMarcus Lawrence, after his performance against Detroit, now leads the NFL in sacks at 5.5. And these are a quarter way through the season. Julio Jones, who I just said needs to be more involved in this offense, leads the NFL in receiving yards with 502 through 4 games. And Clinton Dix, along with 3 other guys, Xavier and Howard, Dante Jackson, and Earl Thomas, lead the NFL in interceptions with 3. First quarter standings. Here's what each division looks like right now. AFC East, Miami is out in front at 3-1, followed by the Patriots at 2-2. AFC North, Cincinnati and Baltimore out front at 3-1. Everybody else 1-2-1. AFC South, Tennessee and Jacksonville tied at 3-1. Tennessee is winning with defense. Other 2 teams 1-3. AFC West, Kansas City 4-0. One of the few undefeated teams still left, followed by Denver and LA at 2-2. NFC East, Washington out front at 2-1, followed by the Cowboys and Eagles at 2-2. NFC North, the Chicago Bears out in front at 3-1, followed by the Packers, who are 2-1-1. NFC South, you got the Saints at 3-1, followed by the Panthers at 2-1. NFC West, you have the other undefeated team in the NFL, the LA Rams, followed by Seattle at 2-2. Now, some of these teams are getting players back next week, right? Mark Ingram's coming back for the Saints. You're going to see that offense pick up, in my opinion. Vontaze Burfict, he's coming back to the Bengals. We'll see how much of an impact he has for that defense. David Irving's coming back. He's going to give the Cowboys another pass rusher, keep those guys fresh. Now that's where they're going to start causing trouble, because you're going to have a lot of guys that can rush the passer, and they're going to be rushing from the inside and the outside. Corey Liuget, he's coming back for the Chargers. That's going to help that defense. Expect the Chargers to get better. Colts are getting Robert Turbin back. Raiders are getting Daryl Worley back. The Patriots get Julian Edelman back, so that's going to take somebody off of Gronk and or Josh Gordon, who, if he can make it through the season, now you got 3 guys you can pass the ball to. They can't double cover everybody. And Jimmy Smith is coming back for that Ravens defense. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here today is Earl Thomas. Now, there's a lot of talk. Everybody's chiming in about Earl Thomas flipping the bird, what it meant. Oh, he's a role model. What about the kids? Blah, 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 blah. This is exactly why Le'Veon Bell's holding out. This is why he held out until the beginning of the regular season and should have continued to hold out. Football money is not guaranteed. All of these guys that just signed $100+ million contracts are not getting all of that money. They're going to get a portion of that money. And if you get hurt or the team doesn't want you anymore, they get rid of you and they don't have to pay you. You have per game roster bonuses that are built in. So if you don't in every game because you're injured, you don't get your money there either. This game is set up to screw the players. Earl Thomas is so frustrated and done. I don't think he was flipping off the entire Seattle Seahawks sideline. I think as you watch the video, you see him watch the sideline, catch somebody specific's eye, flip him off, and to me, I'm reading lips. He also called him, a female dog. But it did not look like to me that he was flipping off his teammates. It did not look like to me that he was doing it to the whole sideline. It looked like he found somebody's site that he was upset with, that did not do him right in this situation, that put a franchise tag on him. In fact, we should get rid of the franchise tag altogether or limit it to 1 year, because that's allowing teams to screw players, overuse them, and if they get hurt, not have to pay them. Because your guaranteed money's in the big term contract. That's where you get the big signing bonus. That's where you get all the money up front. That's where you finally get paid for what you've done, what you've earned in that market. The rest of us wish we all got paid what we've earned in the specific markets that we work in. So am I upset that Earl Thomas flipped the bird? No, I completely understand it. He is upset. He was balling out. He came back. He did it for the team. He showed loyalty. What he missed? The preseason where they weren't going to play him anyway? And what'd he do? 3 interceptions, leading the NFL when he breaks his leg. Now he's out for the year. And on top of it, he knows there was a contract out there, a trade out there with the Kansas City Chiefs. They had all but worked it out. Seattle had come down on their demands. Kansas City was going to meet it. The physical had taken place from what was reported. It was just getting it finalized before the 2 teams announced it. Now that's out of the works. Now he goes into an offseason knowing that that team, again, could franchise tag him and have his rights instead of letting him leave in free agency. The ugly side of sports. Business has no place in it. If you're not willing to play for free, you probably shouldn't be playing. Like, that's real talk from me. I would have played the game for free. I did not like thinking that it was going to have to be a job. I just loved playing the game. Earl Thomas loves playing the game. He is frustrated with the business of the game. Did he let that out at the right time? That's for you to decide. You can decide yourself. Don't judge him for what he's done. You haven't been in his shoes. You're not in his spot. Same nonsense I'm hearing here in Denver all the time. Oh, Case Keenum's not the guy. Demaryius Thomas not the guy. You got to go get somebody in the next year's draft. You got to look at Patrick Mahomes. You got to go do this. Look, everybody out there is learning a new offense. This is the new NFL where you don't play most of the preseason. So you might look great in practice, in OTAs and training camp. Oh, we're lighting it up. Look at all these deep passes while everybody's going 50%. It changes when you start having that live competition. It's not the same in the preseason when you go out and play 7 snaps. These guys are getting reps now. The Broncos are starting to get better each week. Case Keenum is getting better each week with Bill Musgrave. They're figuring out how to use this offense because it's not in rhythm yet. You got to let these guys play. You got to pay them what they're worth. And until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.